Hey everyone, welcome back to your Not Finished podcast. My name is Brittany Franklin. I'm the host of this podcast, and I don't know how I feel about doing another episode, if I am honest. Because, to be completely transparent, as I typically am on these podcast episodes, I almost gave up on You're Not Finished entirely. There have been mental, financial, and physical limitations that have prevented me from operating YNF as efficiently as I want to. And so, yeah, I think that comes with the territory, right? I mean, if you're trying to do your own thing and the majority of people in your life don't necessarily believe in that thing, and plus you're going through some personal issues, like it's going to be significantly harder. And then you have, like, of course, in the spiritual realm too, trying to fight against the principalities and the powers that will come against the purpose that you have. It's a lot. And so I think anybody in my position would think to maybe let it go just in the natural. But also, as I spoke about having mental limitations, I recently had been struggling with a very heavy suicidal ideation and needed to take just a step back while trying to figure out life in the face of these limitations that I'm going through right now, trying to figure out how to move forward despite every single thing coming against me right now. And so it's been difficult. I'm not going to lie. I'm glad I took this step back to just allow the Lord to heal my mind, to remind me of who I am, and to remind me to get back into therapy, which I'm really excited to do. I've also been allowing myself to be more creative and artistic, and that's really grounded me as well. And so that's been helpful. And then also too, I mean, just reading the word, meditating, just taking the space that I need to completely reset and refocus. And I needed to do that because, as I've alluded to, it's a matter of life and death for me with struggling with suicidal ideation. So I thought that I would dedicate today's episode to being open and honest about what's been going on with me, but also maybe using my experience to hopefully provide some kind of encouragement or hope for people who are in the same struggle. Because if you are unaware, I don't know how you would be though. I mean, America has been quite literally on fire, physically, financially, politically, right? Something has been going on every single day since the Trump administration has entered the White House. It's actually insane. How it's nonstop chaos, it's nonstop worrying, it's nonstop anxiety, things that people should have seen coming but didn't. And as I've mentioned, I'm not going to use You're Not Finished as a political platform. There are many voices already doing that. My voice does not need to be added to that, but it should be very obvious where I stand at this point, with the support of the poor, marginalized, the immigrant. That's just biblical in nature to do anyway. That's part of Christian theology. That is part of the betterment of mental health and well-being. And so, of course, there would be no reason for me as a mental health advocate to stand with anything the current administration is doing right now, but I digress. As you can see from the title, this is the What Keeps You Alive series. And I actually did this a number of years ago when I first started You're Not Finished. I asked some of my friends to record video or audio of them just saying what keeps them alive, so that when people saw it, when people saw the final product, they would see people from many different backgrounds expressing the things that keep them going, and hopefully that would give them hope. It's part of the foundation of You're Not Finished, which is allowing other people to share their stories and their testimonies. And I think that when I don't just think that, I think it's been proven, right, that when people share their testimonies, when people share their stories, when people come together on common ground like this, then it really decreases the stigma and allows other people to talk about their mental health struggles and allows the space for healing, right? And so I want to talk about my current struggles with suicidal ideation. And unfortunately, it is current. I don't know if, especially last week, was like PMDD or the state of our world or my personal state, but the suicidal ideation was extremely heavy last week and the week before last. And if not for my connection to God with the reading of his word, with prayer, if not for art, thank God, I have been diving back into what I originally wanted to do as a kid, which is become an artist, a visual artist. And so I've been drawing actually, learning a language and reading scripture have allowed me to be able to focus on things that I really enjoy, which is being a perpetual learner and a creator, and kind of brings me back to my original intent and purpose. Is something, being a visual artist especially, is something that I wanted to do when I was in high school. And so getting back to that has actually been really rewarding for me personally. If you're interested in that, by the way, follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads at Build From Zero. That's BUILD, the number 4 RMZERO, Build From Zero. Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads. But yeah, so I have been getting back into that. I'm actually excited to even attempt to go back to school to learn more about art and specifically architectural drafting, because for some reason I've been obsessed with buildings lately. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but I'm excited to figure that out. So yeah, those are the things that really have grounded me lately and given me a sense of renewed hope despite my situation not changing. And I know that a lot of Christians subscribe to prosperity gospel and things like that, or they have the erroneous theology, which makes people think that if you're struggling in life that you always or automatically need some type of deliverance, or if you have some type of demon on you or whatever the case may be. I think sometimes that is the case, but I have to remind people that all they have to do is look at Job, right? Job was blameless. Not saying that I'm blameless, because I'm definitely not, but Job was described as blameless, and yet his whole life was upended. You know, there are many scriptures in the word that suggest that being close to God does not exempt you from experiencing difficult times. And more often than not, we don't determine how long those difficult times last. Sometimes it is based on our own, it's a result of our own actions and the things that we have done either in disobedience or out of lack of wisdom of things like that. Other times it's just circumstance. It's just a testing of your faith. It's just a product of certain systems, and it's just hard. Life is difficult. Like Jesus even says to his disciples, in this world you're going to have trouble, but take heart, for I have overcome the world, right? There's even another scripture that talk about enduring to the end. And endurance means that you're going to go through some hard stuff. You don't grow in endurance by having an easy life. You grow in endurance, you gain endurance by going through difficult times, by pushing yourself through difficult times and through difficult circumstances. And so I'm just throwing it out there because I know there are people who really enjoy demonizing and judging people who are going through a hard time. And I kind of don't care how anybody feels about it. As far as personally, I need to throw it out there though for people who it applies to, that feel the shame and the condemnation, who struggle with that, and let them know that life's hard, and I'm sure everybody's just doing the best that they can. Anyway, it goes without saying that I don't want to be in this position that I'm in as a 38-year-old woman, and I don't want suicide to be the way out of my situation. I'm not going to deny how being in my current situation makes me feel, but also with that in mind, I'm going to do my best to be rational in response to the things that I'm going through. And I say that because suicide, while I understand how people get to that point, because suicide is preventable in nature and because it's such a rash decision, I consider suicide to be irrational. And so I'm going to do my best, like I said, to be rational in my response to difficult periods by fighting for my life and fighting for You're Not Finished and fighting for those around me and speaking up whenever I feel led to or whenever I'm supposed to in regards to injustice and pain and all of the things, right? And I'm not going to just let things go. I'm not just going to be steamrolled either, right? Like I'm going to actually, like I said, I'm going to actually fight. And I've noticed that throughout these like difficult months, there have been two kinds of people who have advised me or encouraged me to let things go. There are people who are in survival mode themselves and don't have the capacity to be supportive, which is completely understandable. That's no judgment to them, but it's understandable because it's hard out there for everyone. People are losing their jobs, they're losing their livelihood, they're losing their lives, they're losing their health, they're losing their security. So I get it. There are a lot of people in survival mode right now and don't have the ability to be supportive because they're trying to figure out how they're going to make it through their own lives, right? But the second kind of person is the kind of person who believes that to whatever degree it's beneficial for them for me to suck. And like I don't know how else to put it, right? Because this is funny. This is because this came up as I was hanging out with a friend last night. We were talking about Christian ministries and how sometimes, whether it's in church, whether it's in a Christian organization or whatever the case may be, that in some of those areas, you can only grow to a certain extent and then you hit a wall. But if that church, if that organization sees you as just hands or just a body to be able to carry out their mission and disregard what God has planned for your life, then it'll stifle your growth. But it's beneficial to the church, but it's not beneficial to you personally as someone who needs to grow closer to God and needs to bear fruit in other areas, right? And I feel like that's the same thing for the kind of people that I'm describing when it comes to my personal life, because up until recently, there have been people that I remained connected to that needed me to suck. And I feel like that's only my own fault because I saw the signs like a long time ago, and I'm not typically someone who packs people up and cuts them off like that. And so it's my fault for allowing myself to remain connected to people like that. which is why I'm taking accountability for my role, why my life is the way it currently is, by owning up to some bad choices that I've made. And like I said, one of those bad choices is remaining connected to those kind of people, submitting to those kind of people in order to gain an approval that I already had. And so that's the other way. One of the other ways I'm going to fight for myself is to actually love myself as I'm commanded to do with the help of the Lord, by asking Him, who should I be connected to? Who should I keep my distance from while still loving them, while still forgiving them? Who shouldn't have access to my life anymore? Who should have access to my life? Who should I be submitted to when it comes to pastor or elder, right? Who should I befriend? This is me trying to be as rational as I can despite how I feel, but also trying to get back to the heart of You're Not Finished, to use my story to help others walk out their own. The verse that has been speaking to me, that really kind of drives home the point, comes from 2 Timothy 4:7, which says, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. And so I want to fight the good fight, finish the race, keep the faith. After reading that, I even prayed, Lord, help me fight the good fight, help me finish the race, help me keep the faith. Help me remember why I'm still here, Remember that I am loved, that I am fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God, right? Help me remember what is keeping me alive, whether it's His word, His truth, the friends that I have around me, the family that I have around me, the art that I'm allowed to create now, the good music that I'm allowed to listen to that gets me in a good mood when I'm feeling down, the ability to learn a new language and to learn a new skill. Let's start with the small things that keep us alive when we are struggling to live. And I know it's difficult, believe me. Like every day, it's difficult for me. Despite what I put on around other people, behind the scenes, I'm very okay, let me get up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to will myself, trying to ask for the Lord's help, trying to remind myself, okay, I need to focus on these things because it's a matter of life and death. I'm going to fight the good fight. I'm going to keep the faith. I'm going to finish the race. That's literally the heart of You're Not Finished. And so Lord willing, I will be continuing this series, the What Keeps Me Alive series. I hopefully will be able to recruit other people into this because I think people need just that reminder of what keeps them going in a world full of chaos every single day. And I hope it'll be not just encouraging, but transformative for whoever listens, and even for myself personally. We'll all be transformed by the renewing of our minds as we focus on the truth in the face of lies and misinformation and disinformation. And hopefully our situations will even turn for the better, or we will find silver lining or light at the end of the tunnel as we go along our journey to finish well. And so that is all I have for you today. I will be back next time continuing the What Keeps You Alive series. We're going to keep, I said we, like there's more than one person. I'm going to keep doing this and focusing on what's right, pure, lovely, and praiseworthy. There are many voices speaking to the politics and everything that is going on right now, and I just cannot use You're Not Finished for that. So if you're looking for more positivity, please stay tuned. Thank you so much again for listening. Hope you guys have a great day and finish well.